Croatia's coast is a dream. Calm, clear, and full of life. It's a place of ancient cities, hidden beaches, and water so blue it barely looks real. But with so many islands, where do you even start? Today, we're taking you along the Dalmatian coast to share the best stops on a route from Dubrovnik to Korčula, from world-famous cities to the secret spots you can only find by boat. You can't go to Croatia without visiting Dubrovnik. It's one of the most photographed cities in the world. But what most people don't realize is that not long ago, this place was under siege.
In 1991, during the Croatian War of Independence, Yugoslav and Serbian forces attacked Dubrovnik.
Over 2,000 shells hit the old town. 2/3 of the buildings were damaged.
There's a calm here now, but it wasn't always like this. These streets once echoed with air raid sirens. Today, they echo with footsteps from cruise ship crowds. And then came Game of Thrones. Dubrovnik doubled as King's Landing, and tourism exploded. The city saw a 500% spike in visitors. Cruise ships, walking tours, merchandise is everywhere. Tourists flood the walls that were once hiding spots. They pose on staircases made famous by Game of Thrones, not realizing those same steps were once covered in rubble.
We get it, and we were huge Game of Thrones fans. I admit, I walked on those steps yelling, "Shame, shame," myself. But it's also surreal. You're walking through a fantasy world built on real blood and resilience. And that's why we always recommend stepping beyond the selfie spots.
Dubrovnik rebuilt itself fast. The UNESCO World Heritage team led the restoration using original materials, and the result is stunning. But the scars are still here if you know where to look.
And that's the contrast that hits you the most. Dubrovnik is alive, vibrant, and packed with people, but it's carrying a memory most visitors will never notice.
If it's your first time in Dubrovnik, start with the city walls. They're nearly 2 kilometers long and give you the best perspective of the city and the coastline.
The walk is breathtaking. You pass by restored towers, cannon placements, and even the terracotta rooftops of the old town that had to be completely restored after the war. Take your time and stop for some refreshments and look out over the city and the coast, and just imagine what they endured here. The city walls are not accessible, but if you have mobility issues, you can take the cable car for extraordinary views as well.
Next stop, Fort Lovranac, known to Game of Thrones fans as the Red Keep. But in real life, it was a key defense post built centuries before HBO came calling.
You'll also want to check out the War Photo Limited Gallery. It's just outside of the main stretch, and it's a powerful photo exhibit.
When you need a break from the heat, and you will, head down to Buza bar. You'll literally climb through a hole in the wall and find yourself perched on cliffs, sipping a cold drink while watching cliff jumpers launch into the Adriatic. There's something sacred about walking through a city that almost didn't make it. Dubrovnik is more than a postcard. It's a promise that with time, care, and community, even the most damaged places can come back.
When you sail away from the mainland, you start to feel it. The shift, the noise of history fades, and what replaces it is stillness.
During the war, islands like Mjet and the Elaphiti chain became places of refuge, not just physically, but emotionally. These were safe harbors when the mainland felt like it was falling apart.
Mjet is protected land. There's pine forests, saltwater lakes, and hiking and cycling trails. It's one of the quietest places in Croatia.
If you need to unplug, this is the place. You can swim in the lakes, rent a bike, hike through the woods, and make sure to visit the chapel on an island. It's like Croatia's nature pressed the reset button.
The Elaphiti Islands are just off the coast of Dubrovnik, but they feel a world away. No cars, no noise, just olive groves, stone houses, and time slowing down.
Then you hit the Pakleni Islands just off Hvar, and everything changes. These aren't quiet refuges, these are party islands.
It's easy to forget that these places were part of a country in conflict not so long ago. But even here, where the wine flows and the music plays, there's a sense of freedom earned.
That's what makes Croatia so unique. It doesn't erase its past, it builds joy on top of it.
Korčula might be the birthplace of Marco Polo, but in the 90s, it became a different kind of frontier, a quiet island caught in a loud war. Locals ferried supplies, hosted refugees, and held their ground.
Korčula feels like it was built for postcards. It has this feeling of a little bit of Venice, but its beauty runs deeper than the architecture. This island knows a thing or two about survival.
During the war, Korčula sheltered refugees fleeing the mainland. While the fighting never reached the island directly, the fear and tension were always present.
And even though there wasn't heavy shelling here, the economy was shattered. Tourism stopped, resources dried up, and people had to rebuild with almost nothing.
But they never stopped making wine. That's the Croatian spirit. One glass keeps the roots alive, no matter what the world throws at you.
Wander the town and you'll find medieval walls, Venetian flair, and a strong claim that Marco Polo was born here. Is it true? Well, we don't know, but we'll let the historians fight that one out. Stari Grad on Hvar is one of the oldest towns in Europe. It survived Roman rule, Venetian trade wars, and the breakup of Yugoslavia. And today, it's quietly thriving.
If Dubrovnik is a stage, Stari Grad is a whisper. You stroll past ruins and vineyards, and suddenly you're in a family-run canoba, eating seafood risotto under the stars. No rush, no schedule, just being alive.
Here's what we loved. No massive crowds, no large cruise ships, just narrow lanes, fresh seafood, and an atmosphere that feels like Croatia's soul is still intact.
Travelers often ask us where they should go outside of Dubrovnik, and our answer is right here. Stari Grad and Korčula are quieter, more local, and just as beautiful with a fraction of the foot traffic.
They're not just escapes, they're examples of what it means to rebuild slowly, intentionally, and beautifully. And then there's Trogir, a living museum. Every single stone tells a story. Every alley has seen centuries. But even here, in a town that looks untouched, there was tension during the war.
It wasn't bombed like Dubrovnik, but people here felt the fear. They felt the anxiety and the uncertainty, and yet it endured.
That's the thread across all of these places. Islands, towns, coastlines. They didn't all take the same hit, but they all came back stronger. And they all have something to teach us.
We sailed the Dalmatian Coast with yacht getaways, and honestly, it was the perfect way to explore the places most people miss. We sailed with them in Greece as well, and you can check the video out in the links below. By sailing, we were allowed to stop in little nooks and hidden beaches, quiet harbors, and we had private snorkeling and swimming.
And that's the beauty of this trip. You don't just see the highlights, you discover the forgotten corners. From tiny fishing villages to Cold War relics, yacht getaways gave us a front row access to the real rugged Croatia.
During this cruise, we visited one of the most fascinating spots of all, a submarine tunnel carved straight into the cliffs. This might look something out of a spy movie, but these are real. Camouflaged submarine tunnels carved into Croatia's coastline during the Yugoslav era.
From above, it just looks like a rock, but inside, it's a relic from the Cold War, built to hide naval ships from NATO surveillance.
These tunnels were designed for fast launches and silent retreats. They're completely hidden from the sea, reinforced and built for stealth.
Standing in here, you can really feel the paranoia of the time, the tension between east and west, and how close this region was to exploding.
But it wasn't just tunnels. Along the coast, you'll find fortresses, gun batteries, and military ruins tucked behind hiking trails or cliffs that most visitors never notice.
And that's what's so wild about Croatia. It wears its beauty like armor, but underneath it's a landscape full of old scars and secret bunkers.
One minute you're exploring a hidden submarine base, and the next you're sailing into a vineyard-lined island with fresh seafood and local wine. That's Croatia.
Let's talk numbers. because Croatia is gorgeous, but it's no longer a budget destination. Prices have skyrocketed in the past few years, especially in hotspots like Dubrovnik and Hvar.
We sailed with yacht getaways, and honestly, for what you get, it's one of the best deals left. 7 days sailing the Dalmatian Coast, breakfast, lunch, and 2 dinners are included. Your wine and beer and cocktails. You have your own private host making your meals and telling you all about the islands, and your own private captain. We all had private cabins with private baths, and these start around €1,900 per person depending on the cabin and season. It includes snorkeling every day, paddleboarding. You park right in the heart of the town, so you are free to explore on foot, and you have zero stress with maximum views.
And no, this isn't sponsored. We just loved the experience. And if you want to see multiple islands, eat fresh seafood, and skip the crowded ferries, then this is the way to go.
But if you want to go on your own, let's break down some of the prices.
Here's a quick breakdown of what to budget for a week in Croatia.
Mid-range hotels run around €120 to €180 a night. Luxury resorts, closer to €300 and up to €600 and up.
Street food is a bargain, 10 to 15 euros a day. A nice sit-down meal with wine, I'd plan for about 30 to 60 euros per person, and tasting menus can easily hit more than 100 euros.
Getting around by ferry is cheap. You can go from 8 to 30 euro, but private boat transfers or day charters can cost 100 euro to 250.
If you're heading inland, rental cars are about 50 euros a day plus fuel.
Tours and activities vary, so think about 20 euro to 40 euro for a city walking tour, or 25 to 80 for a wine tasting, and 50 to 120 euros for a kayaking or a sailing excursion.
So yes, Croatia is not dirt cheap anymore, but it's still worth every single cent.
While we explored the old town, we stayed just outside of the city center at Hotel Dubrovnik Palace. And it was perfect. It's tucked into the cliffs overlooking the sea, and the city bus stops right at the front door, taking you straight to the old town in only 10 minutes.
The hotel has a spa, indoor and outdoor pools, a romantic restaurant, and seriously impressive view from every balcony. And if you're planning to see a lot, just grab yourself a Dubrovnik pass. It covers public transit, the city walls, and most attractions.
Croatia isn't just a destination, it's a history lesson. How they can carry memory without being defined by it, and how beauty can grow out of devastation.
We came to Croatia not just to relax, but to understand. And we hope that when you come here, you'll do the same. Go beyond the beaches, ask questions, listen to stories, and travel with purpose. And if this inspired you to explore Croatia with new eyes, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who thinks Europe just means Paris or Rome.
This is where we travel with memory and tell stories behind the places you've always dreamed about.